Hello, I'm Dr. Chandresh, psychiatrist here at ANC Gachibowli. Today I'm here to talk to you about some sleep hygiene tips. So people often come to us either because they're not able to fall asleep or because they've been taking medicine for sleep for a long time and they want to get off it. I'll walk you through some of the do's and don'ts to improve your sleep. First one is to go to bed and wake up at the same time daily. Maintain a regular schedule. Expose yourself to bright light in the mornings and avoid exposure to bright lights in the evenings. It helps using the night light filter in your phones and your laptop screens so that the blue light is filtered out in the evenings. It's very helpful to exercise in the mornings and afternoons, but at the same time avoid exercising about 3 hours before going to bed. If you like napping in the afternoons, it's fine as long as they are about 20 minutes. Do not go for prolonged naps in the afternoons. Going to a nap in the afternoon thinking you would wake up soon, but then you may end up sleeping for an hour or an hour and a half or even 2 hours. This can interfere with your nighttime sleep. It would also be a good idea to avoid drinking alcohol, coffee and tea after 6 p.m. in the evenings. Quite a few people drink alcohol to help them sleep, but in the long term, alcohol can have again its own effects on messing with the sleep architecture and lead to poor sleep quality. Coming to your evening meals, it helps to not have a heavy meal within 3 hours of going to bed, but it also means do not go to bed empty stomach. Have a light snack before going to bed. A low blood sugar in the night can often give you bad dreams and wake you up. When it's time for bed, do not be in the habit of dropping everything that you're doing and going to bed. Instead, it helps to take an hour to develop a ritual of winding down before going to bed. It also helps to make your sleep environment peaceful, little less noisy, a little more dark. You may also want to consider if the temperature in your room is something that you find ideal. And once you're in bed, you should not really watch TV or movies or read a book or listen to music when you're in bed. Your brain should associate the bed with falling asleep and not with any other activity. That isn't to say if you're falling asleep listening to a book or a podcast or music, you should stop doing that. If that is helpful for you, you can go ahead. But if you're not able to sleep despite these, you may want to consider cutting down on some of these things. People also often have the habit of worrying about the next day once they're in bed. It would be helpful if you could take, let's say, 15 or 20 minutes out in the day, set it aside as a worry time, where you do all your worrying outside the bedroom. And even if you get a very important thought when you're in your bed, you may want to write it down in a diary next to you and leave it so that you can deal with it next morning. One of the most disturbing things for a good night's sleep is something called clock watching. A lot of people tend to keep looking at the watch on either their phones or on their wall to look at the amount of time they have spent in bed. This again leads to sort of a catastrophic thinking about how much time you have left, that you have to wake up in a few hours, and if you cannot sleep, then you're not going to have a good day. Maybe you have a new meeting, and all of these start building up. One way to improve the amount of sleep efficiency that you get is to actually reduce the amount of time that you're awake in your bed. So if you're somebody who spends, let's say, 45 minutes, 1 hour in bed, laying awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling restless, tossing and turning, what would be good is to reduce the amount of time that you spend doing this. If after 15 or 20 minutes awake, if you're not able to fall asleep, you get out of bed, go to another room and do something restful, maybe something boring which doesn't take too much of your energy, and then come back after a while to try falling asleep again. When I use the word trying to fall asleep, I don't mean for you to literally try to fall asleep, which again is one of the things which can prevent you from falling asleep. Sleep either comes or it doesn't. The more you try to push to fall asleep, the less likely you're going to fall asleep. If you were to wake up in the middle of the night, it often helps to not go and look at a book or your phone, look up the news or something. Do not try to think about something again which is going to happen the next day. Usually, these sort of thoughts lead to a cascade of more ideas, more things to do, more plans, and then you're not going to fall asleep again. Even if you're waking up to use the washroom, ideally just come back and lay down in bed again. So I hope you found this video useful. If you have any more questions, you can reach us on our social media. You can also come down to one of our clinics and have a detailed discussion with our psychiatrist here. Thanks.